Hi, my name's Charles Evans and welcome back to the studio here in Northumberland. What I want to do today is do some really quick and easy tips and techniques, and this is following on from a really popular video that we made on YouTube about a year ago, tips and techniques in watercolour. And so I just want to expand a little bit on that, and I'm starting off with some skies. Very simple skies, plenty of water, and this is just a plain blue fluffy clouded sky. Loads of water all the way down. At this stage you can't actually put too much water on. There. A little bit of ultramarine blue and a graduated wash. What a graduated wash means is the colour's stronger at the top than it is at the bottom. Simple as that. Come all the way down with one brush stroke, one brush full of paint, and stop about there. Now for clouds, very simple. Wash my brush out, squeeze it out, and take some paint out. A little more there. How easy can that be? Mop up. I'll make that into a little picture with a touch of burnt sienna into my ultramarine blue for a couple of distant hills. Remembering that sky is still wet, so there might be a little bit of softening on the top. All with my 3/4 inch wash brush. And a touch of grass in front. There. And when you get some land underneath your sky, that's when the sky really comes into its own. Simple, blue, fluffy, clouded sky. Now, if you wanted to put a bit more colour into your sky, get some more colours in there, a little bit more interest, it's the same process and just as easy, but you've got to work quickly. Again, loads of water from the top. And yet again, I'm using my 3/4 inch wash brush for this. If these were bigger skies, if I were working on a full piece of paper, I'd use my 1.5 inch flat wash brush, but this is big enough for these. A little bit of yellow ochre and burnt sienna mixed there. Plenty of water. Drop a bit of that in there, like so. This time, with the ultramarine blue, I keep saying ultramarine blue, it's actually French ultramarine blue, that's what I mean. A little bit of burnt sienna into the blue. And again, coming from the top, coming down, and start and leave a few bits of those undercolours showing through here and there. Now, wash out again, squeeze out, and the same process with the sky, with the clouds. Suck some cloud out here and there. A little bit there. Another simple little sky, but more colour in it this time. Just moving the paint around now, look, with a clean damp brush. Take a bit out there, pop a bit back underneath. So we've got a bit of cloud shadow. So easy. Put a little bit of land underneath that one. Touch of yellow ochre. Now, I'll change to my round brush for a second. Hooker's green and yellow ochre mixed. Never ever use Hooker's green by itself because it's totally unnatural. As a mixer, however, it's fabulous. You can put every colour you've got into Hooker's green, one, sometimes two at a time, and you've got loads of different greens. There. A couple of poplar trees maybe. And a touch of blue. Just dabbing on. Remembering the sky's still wet. You don't need to fiddle and mess about too much. And you certainly don't need hair dryers. Not for this. And there you go. Very simple little painting. But can you see how the sky really comes into its own? There's some land underneath it. There you go. Incidentally, Those boats, they weren't really boats, just a couple of brown blobs underneath the sails. But a lot of people really worry about drawing or painting boats. It's a very simple shape. You know this old Christian symbol that you see on the back of cars, the fish? There. See it on the back of cars. Once you've got the fish, you just need a stick there, one there, and one there. Got a little boat. If you want to make that into a rowing boat, stick a little geezer in it, a couple of rowing things there. Yeah, little rowing boat. The same fish, just don't finish off the last tail. Make that taller. There, there. Stick a little box on. Couple of masty bits. There, got a little fishing boat. All with the fish. Very, very simple shape. Now, after the last video of tips and techniques, I showed you how to do people walking away from you in the middle distance. And a lot of people have asked me since, are they more difficult coming towards you? Not really, just make them a little bit bigger and you need some flesh tone for that. They're still simple. I don't go into a lot of detail because after all, what we're talking about here is adding some life into a landscape. It's not about life drawing or life painting. It's adding a bit of life into your painting, into the landscape. And so I need a little bit of sand and a little bit of light red. The sand is such a useful colour for so many things. It's a good layering colour. You put that down, put other colours on top of it, leave this showing through. It's good for beaches. It's called sand. It's good as a lightener. Put it into any colour you've got and it will lighten it. It's good for stonework. For flesh tone, a little bit of light red into the sand. You've got a nice flesh tone there. And all I need for people coming towards me, we'll have a blob there and a couple of smaller ones there. Now, just have some clothing. A bit of red. This is alizarin crimson. A bit in there. I'm using my round brush for this, by the way. A bit more water. A bit there. He's got his collar up. And he's been on the weights by the look of him. Now, a little bit of blue jean colour, so I'll use some ultramarine blue and a touch of burnt sienna. Bring that down. Have a bit of a twist in the leg. As that comes down, leave a gap, another stroke there, and you're walking. So easy. A little bit of hair. There's nothing wrong with bald, but a bit of hair's good. Ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. Some of that there. And now he looks like Elvis. A little bit of shadow there. A bit underneath his arm there. There you go, somebody walking towards you. Now, that simple figure you could make into an entire crowd of people walking down the street towards you without really painting any more people, just a few more blobs. Watch. A little bit of the flesh tone again, slightly weaker. There's one there, one there, we'll have one there. Now, just any old colours, just stick some colour on. A little bit of brown. Bit of green. A bit of blue. Now a few dark strokes here and there. Now, you see what I mean? Just a few blobs and that will do it. Now, if you take him out of the equation, they're just blobs. Put him back in, and it's a lot of people walking away or walking towards you. I'm never fiddling about with detail. There you go, simple people. Now, this is special request time. Someone asked me the other day that he told me that he'd done a sunset sky and he ruined it when he put the geese flying across the sky. You can imagine the scenario, silhouetted geese against a sunset sky. Very nice, but you can easily ruin it. A goose is very, very simple. All it is a bottle of wine laid on its side. There you go. It's a bottle of wine laid on its side. Stick a triangle on there. Stick a little blob on the end there. Have a couple of wings coming down there. There you go. Very, very easy. Just colour it in the colour that you want your goose to be. Now, before I do the last sky I'm going to do, I just want to show you a technique back to the old video of tips and techniques, because everybody's seen me do rocks. And I'm going to show you this for a reason. That's a bit of yellow ochre. That's a little bit of raw umber. Now, make a black. Never use manufactured black. Always make it. Ultramarine blue and burnt sienna will give you a nice black. Another way of making black is alizarin crimson and hooker's green. Bit of that one there as well. And this is the technique I'm talking about. Just an old credit card. And scrape over and have some rocks. Like so. How simple is that? But, strange as it may seem, I'm going to use this technique in the sky. That's why I'm showing you this again, because this next sky is going to be a very dark one. And this is a new technique I've just figured out for a credit card. Watch. Plenty of water. Preferably clean water. But this is going to be a dark sky anyway. Very dark. I'm taking it a little bit further down this time. To about there. Bit more water. Keep it nice and wet. Give yourself the time. And I'm going to start off with ultramarine blue and a tiny touch of burnt sienna into it. Just up there. Bring it down a little bit. Now, ultramarine blue with a lot more burnt sienna into it. But it's very dark and rich. Not quite black though. Plenty of water. Bring that in and start and bring it up. Very dark for foreboding sky, that one. A little bit more of that colour. And I'm leaving it very dark in the bottom. Mop up again. Wash out. And now just take out a few clouds there. A few lighter bits there. A little bit there. That'll do nicely. Now back to the credit card. And then a little bit more blue, and let's have some sea in there. Do you see what a very simple technique that is? Do you see the sea? See what I did there? Now touch that and bring one colour into the other. Now, how effective is that? Very, very simple, all done whilst the sky's still wet. I just want to reinstate that a little bit more. That's better. If you want at that stage, you can get a little bit of raw umber and blue and stick a tiny touch of boat underneath the sails. And that will more or less do. There you go. And that's about it for this one. Just a few very simple tips and techniques. The main important bit about that is the skies. The skies are really important because they make your painting, they make your landscape, set the mood and set the atmosphere. The business with the sand, which I use quite a bit, is Charles Evans Sand, and it's available on my eShop. Everything else that I use is all Winsor & Newton. I use Winsor & Newton Cotman brushes, Winsor & Newton artist quality watercolour paint, and Winsor & Newton 140-pound paper. I never pre-stretch the paper, by the way. Just chop a sheet in half or a quarter and tape it to the board. Simple as that. And I'll see you next time.